athletes turned therapists. Our focus in these episodes is to humanize the athlete experience beyond the lines of their arena. In this podcast, we will explore the whole athlete, highlighting the mental, emotional, and social aspects of their journey.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Athlete Wellness Podcast. You know me, it's me, Lilly, and Sarah, girls. And we are joined by one of our interns, Scout, who is a current soccer player at a higher university. And we kind of just wanted to get we're kind of old and washed up. And we wanted to get someone who's really doing it and in the thick of it, going on her senior year. So Scout, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself, your sport, and then we can kind of talk through some burning questions where we're at this stage in your life and career.
So my name is Scout Murray. I'm going to be a senior. So in my recruiting process, I wanted to play D3 for a while, and then I got one D1 offer and I took it. And so it's been a wild ride. And freshman year didn't play a lot. And then sophomore year played a lot. Junior year got injured and stopped playing. And then now I'm about to go in my senior year. So I've been training all summer and been crazy.
Wow. How's the training going? Getting back into it?
It's been a lot of running, which is super fun. But they actually just canceled our fitness test. We were supposed to have a fitness test in a week and they just canceled it. So everybody's so happy about that, which is great because we've trained for it all summer. I feel like that was strategic. We've trained for it all summer and then they canceled at the end of summer, which is kind of nice because now I'm fit and now I don't have to stress about taking it. So
Is that the dang beep test that I hear about? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's all over TikTok. It's constant. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait, okay. Scout, I didn't realize this. And I mean, this will probably, will lead into, more conversations too. I know you're going to be a senior. And one of the things we really wanted to highlight today and talk about was just going into your senior year and even your identity after sport. And I know there's a lot of stressors in regards to being a job and also, still being well-versed, being an athlete, still holding that identity, but then also this chapter closing. And so, I was curious, one, how that's for you, but I also didn't realize you were injured last year. How is that?
Well, I feel like I didn't expect the sport to take a toll on your body so much, even over 4 years. Because I've played soccer my whole life, but I think college sports is just so intense constantly.
Totally.
So there's just always something so my class is super big. We have 10 people and all of us are injured at one point, every single person. And it's just I was only out for a week and a half, but it was a nagging pain. It was a lower back sprain or muscle sprain. And it's just a nagging thing. I've had to go to physical therapy all summer for and each time I come in, it's now my ankle hurts. And he's okay, you sound like a 40-year-old. And I'm well, I feel like it. So yeah, I feel injuries are really hard. One of my friends, she tore ACL halfway through freshman year. And that was just so hard for her because she had to go home for a while, while we're all getting super close and becoming trying to get closer. And I just think people don't talk enough about how hard injuries are and how low. I'm in the middle of my season and I was only out for a week and a half. I can't imagine if I was out for months, but you feel like you're forgotten in a way. You're at the games, but it's since I can't go in, no one's paying attention. So it's I feel that is even small injuries. Obviously big injuries are extremely awful and that's talked about, but I feel small injuries, even during season, aren't talked about enough. It's just so annoying and hard to manage.
Is there, I know we wanted to talk more about senior year, but I want to run with this for a second. is there a fear around, because I do want to highlight what you're saying here, because I think it's so important. I know Lily's been through that specifically as like an injured athlete, and she does a ton of work with injured athletes as well. But I just wanted to highlight this. Like, is there a fear often that, you're out for a week or you're out for 2 weeks, or even it's like you're out for just 2 or 3 practices, even like a concussion protocol,
Yeah.
that you're nervous about like not playing again? Or I can only imagine like it takes a toll on your mental health, or there's like fear induced with that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, like we all talk about this, like if we have a small, like nagging pain, we just won't tell him. And like our trainer is like, no, like you have to tell us. And we're like, okay, but we know like what could happen if like we do tell you. So it's
Mhm.
a lot of time like it's like we're all telling each other like this is really hurting me. Like how bad does it have to get to like I've never like I don't think I've ever told someone I'm injured. And that's why my trainer was like, okay, so this is like definitely a big problem because you would never be telling me this. If like I literally couldn't run because my back was spasming, like I would try to run and I would like feel like I'm gonna like fall to the ground. And that's like, that just shows to the extent that I'm like, that everyone, like most of my team at least, is like willing to go. Like I didn't stop until I was like literally about to collapse because you're so scared that like you're gonna lose your starting spot or you're gonna lose playing time because it happens so fast. Like if someone like comes in and starts playing over you, like a lot of times that will just stay the case. So like no one wants that to happen. It's just like a constant like fight for yeah.
What's so funny is that you can tell that you're kind of aware, like, when you're explaining that story, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous," and, like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, "Why would you do that?" But, like, when you're in it, it's, like, kind of like and, like, now I'm years out, but, like, now even if I have, like, some pain when I'm going for a run, obviously, I'm not, like there's no coach watching me or there's no spot or anything, but I'm like, "Ugh, I'll take my day, like, I shouldn't be doing this," like, I can put myself in a second back into your shoes of being like, well, I'm just gonna, like, maybe I'll put some I literally was like the queen of icy hot or, like, all those
Oh
different
yeah.
of whatever. I don't even know if that's the thing that people use
No, it
now,
is.
like,
Yeah.
that kinda thing, and it's so interesting that, like, in that moment, you can be consciously aware that you should tell someone, and you still do not do anything.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not even, like, a subconscious thing. You're just like, "Okay, I should probably tell someone. I'm going to tell my friends, but I will not tell anyone else to actually get help." And I'm so curious of just, like, this I don't have the answers, but the psychology behind that. Like, that's such a deep-rooted fear that, like,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
is so, so far, like, that and honestly, you'll probably have a while of getting away from that.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Well, also
After.
it's like there's definitely like psychology behind that, but it's also like a fear that has like come true because
Yeah.
I like and I think that's what makes it like even scarier because I was injured. I was out for a week and a half. It seriously felt like 3 months. I was like just so
Wow.
upset. But and I like lost my starting spot like for the rest of the season.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's just like
Okay.
hard to like grasp and come to terms with and like I think that's why like people are so scared because it does happen. Like it really does happen because everybody's this close from like everybody's so good. So it's like the competitiveness, like you're this close to like getting a starting spot or getting a lot more playing time. So it's like I feel like everybody's like, I have to stay strong like the whole time or else like
You
something bad
also
will
have
happen.
the element of someone who's, like, right on the cusp.
Right.
Their mindset is you never know if someone's gonna get hurt, like, I
Right.
be ready
Exactly.
at
Right.
times. So,
Right.
it's like when you view it in that way, it all makes sense, and, like, that's ultimately and no shade at, like, your program or your coaches or whatever, but it's also, like, how a program kind of, like, needs to be built, which is so interesting because 'cause you're just so based on, like, performance and needing someone to take
Yeah.
that spot or whatever it may be, and it's really the, like, do whatever it takes mentality, and
Oh
if
yeah.
someone buys into that, it's like there's a lot of good that can come out of that when you're thinking about, like, external, like, trophies and validation and things and championships, but then when you're actually thinking about like, oh, wow, my mental health or this or that,
Right.
whatever. It's just so interesting how we can still be so aware of like the toll that mental health plays and like how important it is to talk about, but then literally still choosing to just do other things that go against that. It's
Yeah.
so interesting.
It's so interesting hearing this because I'm looking at this too, which is on the other side of this, having worked with clients who aren't injured but don't play or aren't starting and having those conversations, which is, I'm not talking about like, people getting injured, but we're doing so much work on like reframing the
Yeah.
opportunity that could arise at any given point, injury related or not, for somebody to go in and just have a killer game,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I always, with a lot of my volleyball players too, I'm always like, you never know. And our coaches used to say that, like, on any given day, the opportunity could arise. So, just knowing that, like, you can capitalize on it. But at the same time, I'm over here hearing this and I'm like,
Feeding into it.
it's such a both and, because it's like I work with clients, no, there is no injury. They're just, they're ready to go, but they're not in a starting position. And then all of a sudden they get
Yeah.
that opportunity and then they do. And it's so exciting for them.
Yeah.
But I can't even imagine being the other one having to bear witness of
And
that.
then also think about for the people that aren't injured and for the people who are getting that one opportunity, the amount of pressure you get your
Oh,
one
Oh,
opportunity.
yeah.
And like coach, like, well, I gave it to you. I've had plenty of clients come into me and coach was like, well, I gave you that opportunity. Look at your stats. That's why you're not
Right.
playing anymore. And it's like,
Right.
cool, you gave me 4 minutes when we're beating a team by 50 and you gave me 4 minutes at the end of the half. Like, awesome,
Right.
you know?
Right.
I just want to keep talking about this because we're on this topic now. I'm like, we're flowing, and I really think this is an important conversation. Did you, Scout, specifically? How did you move through that? Did you have conversations with your coaches, like,
Yeah.
and maybe this is
I had
advice for other athletes as well, and how to best move through some of this?
Yeah, I had so many conversations with my coaches, like, "What can I do?" And their answer was always just like, "There are still 3 forwards, and also they happen to be my best friends," which is adds a whole other level of, like, confusing
Yep.
conversations. But the answer was always just like, "You guys are just so good. Like, you're all this close." Like, and it's like, "Well, I don't know what to do with that." And it was like kind of like I spent the whole time trying to prove myself. And I think like right now I'm trying to get in better headspace to be able to handle that for this season. Like if that does happen, like how am I gonna handle that? Because I think like in the moment I was like every single practice, every single game, I have to like prove myself and I have to play so well. And that's just like not attainable. Like, I feel like if I were to like give any advice to someone dealing with this, like, don't do that. Like, you don't have to prove yourself every time. Like, you just have to play like the way you want to play and like things will come. But like, going into putting that amount of pressure on yourself every single practice and game, like, that's just not gonna happen. And like at one point I said to one of my coaches, I was like, what happened? Like, why is this happening to me? And she was like, well, you got injured. There was someone right there that was really good. She went in and she ended up playing great the next couple games. And it was just working for the team and the coach just ran with it. I'm like, well, when you put it that way, it makes a lot of sense, but it's like still really upsetting. Like it's just so hard because like at the same time, like looking back, I'm like so happy for like my friend that got to get that chance because she is like a great player. But it's like in the moment, you're getting up at 6 a.m. every single day, like putting everything, like not being able to hang out with your friends, not being able to hang out with your boyfriend, like struggling to get your homework done. So it's like in the moment, it's like as much as you say like you're playing for the team, it feels very like personal. Like it feels like a personal attack when you're not playing. So I think it's hard to like navigate, especially when you're like really close with the people you're trying to like figure this out with. It's really hard.
Yeah.
That is so challenging, and I know it takes a toll and a whole toll on your mental health. It really, really does because you're so right. It's not that you're doing anything wrong, and I feel like when I see this with clients too, and it's hard, I try to put myself in that position, and I'm like, it's funny because I just played, and this is not like but I remember being like, oh my gosh, when I was threatened at all by my position, oh, so it's like, it's easier said, I'm trying to, hold space. A lot of the times it is just holding space for clients and even with friends too, like going to your friends and your coaches and they're just holding space. But internally, when you're a competitor, you're competitive and you were starting, it's really challenging. It's really challenging, but I'm big on reminding yourself just like they had their opportunity. And I would say this to you, you will have your opportunity.
Yeah.
It will come. It will come on any given day. We don't know when something will shift or when it will change.
Yeah.
But I really liked what you said about not putting so much pressure on yourself because do you feel like it actually do you feel like it made you, I don't want to say play worse, but do you think
Definitely.
it affected
Definitely.
confidence?
And I think like now I'm trying to go into the season like focusing on the controllables. Like it's just not like a good idea to focus on like every like practice, every game I need to score because if I don't score, I'm not going to play. Like stuff like that because you can't really control that. Like you can't control if your shot's going to be in the corner. Like at the end of the day, like you control certain things, and I think I was focusing on like stuff I couldn't control and it was like tearing me apart every day. But like now I'm like, let me think about stuff that I can control. Like every game I'm going to work, like I'm going to be the hardest worker on the field. Like, because no one can be like, you didn't work hard. Like if you're working hard, you're working hard. And that's like the main focus of this season. But
I love that. Like controlling the input, not the output. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I know you're
No, I think I'm putting myself like it back in my position. I like love when we have these conversations because I'm ready to go like suit up and like play again. Like it makes me so like excited. But also then working with my clients, I think like we like it's hitting on control, but you like to then like and something that I think if we wanted to jump into like what it's then hard to like when you are done playing your sport and then you're in like real life. In that situation, you're like, okay, now let me know what I can go control. Like, I know that if I go to the weight room or if I do this or if I spend X amount of hours after practice doing this, like, I'll feel like, like no one else can measure that. Like, I'm controlling this. This is what I'm doing. And then when you throw yourself out of the arena of like sports and all of that, like kind of structure and that organization that you have in your mind, like, kind of goes away because you're not like being evaluated in that way anymore. So it's really interesting to just see because it's like, okay, well, if I just go do this, like, then I'll know. But like, even in sport and outside of sport, sometimes that's not enough, which is the other thing is like controlling what you can control, thinking about the output or the input, but also giving yourself grace that like just because you decided that you're going to take this outlook and you're now going to like tell yourself these things or these mantras or you're really going to believe in the process, like none of it's easy. You can do all and like that's honestly that's like the best answer that I have is to do all of that, but it will be so hard and there will be days when you're like, what am I even telling myself? Like I'm telling myself my time is coming. The best is yet and you're literally like, I don't fucking believe that. And that's totally fine. And there will be days when it's really hard, but it's just kind of like making your way back to that and giving yourself grace for the days that is like what you actually feel and then the days that you don't align with anything that you're telling yourself to. Because as you know, that happens.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, Lily, mic drop there. I was like, just yes. Yes. To that.
I hate just like, it's not throwing a Band-Aid on it, but it's just like, like it's going to come. And I think, and like, that's what I would say to a client too, 100%. I think the other aspect of it is that like on the days that is not something that you actually align with or that doesn't feel good, those are the days when you're really like, oh, well, the one thing that was working that kind of helped me get out of it isn't anymore. And those are the ones that are tough to like really recenter, reground yourself and lock back in.
Well, I think it's a though I totally know what you're saying because it's a test that goes so this is when when you said this, you clocked this at the beginning when you're like, this is so deep. And I'm like, it's so deep because when you come back to that, even when nothing is working,
Mhm.
or you're like, okay, trust the process, but you kind of get over trusting the dang process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You have to actually come back to yourself fully and remind yourself that even even in this moment, even with whatever was done or not done, or even if you're just down bad, that's still enough. Like you as a human being, I go back to this always, like you're enough. Like you're enough. Like I think there's a piece of this too where it comes down to radical self-love in those moments. And I think that's sometimes the greatest challenge with
Yeah.
athletes, especially again, high performers, competitors, right? And like if the trusting the process doesn't work in that moment, it is in that moment. You always find a way back to it, but in that moment, like, can I just like love myself fully? I always go back to that.
Literally take sport completely out of it. If you're not
Take it out, take it
trust
out.
the process in whatever sport or part of the season that you're at, you literally need to strip it down to like the bare bones of just like the basics of
Yeah.
anything like before sport even existed. For me, that would be like hanging out with a friend or family member and then not even talking about sports and just like being silly and doing something completely ridiculous because the next day you wake up, it's going to be way easier to believe the things that you're telling yourself about the
Yeah.
sport if you like left it for a second.
Yeah. And I think that's like a big thing with like having teammates that you're so like my teammates are like my closest friends in my life. So it's like when I'm at school and we get done with the game, I find myself like trying to like make sure I still have their approval about like soccer, which is
Mhm.
like so weird because like I know that they love me not because of soccer. Like none of the reasons why they would say they love me is because of soccer. But
Mhm.
we're like so caught up in this like thing that we're doing together. I'm like, wait, but like you guys still thought I played good, right? And like my dad would always tell me like your friends are not thinking about like they're probably thinking about how they played. Like no one's thinking about how you are playing. Like and every single touch that you took in your head that you thought wasn't good enough or every shot that like all of that like I think it's so interesting to me that I find myself doing that cuz like, that goes back to self-love, like, I need reassurance from other people, but, like, no, you don't, like, everything's fine, none of the people that and that is also, like, I put so much emphasis on soccer, like, on my identity, which is
Mhm.
another thing, like, we were talking about, like, after soccer, like, that's gonna be challenging. I know that's gonna be challenging for me because I already put so much of that on my identity. I think that's something that a lot of people like, especially in my on my team are gonna struggle with.
Mhm.
Everyone struggles with it. It is a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
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 I feel
I think, like, having these conversations and, like, being aware of it, like, early on, like, there are people that gonna struggle with it that aren't even aware of it, and you're, like, already one step ahead of it by, like, having these conversations with yourself and
Yeah.
thinking about it too, and it's, like, just as it will be okay, there are also parts of, like, being an athlete and your identity that are gonna serve you so well in the future, and there are parts that are maybe gonna need some tweaking, and it's like, "Oh, it doesn't need to be that intense," or "It doesn't need to be that,
Yeah.
like, I don't have to put that much pressure on myself," but there are parts of it that are gonna make you, like, succeed in whatever you decide to do, and there are parts of it that might be difficult, but it will, like, just I think being curious about it and, like, recognizing that there just might need to be, like, a shift or a tweak, and
Yeah.
that part of you, like, it can stay with you, it can leave, it can come back, it can kinda do all of it. I'm in the era of, like, letting it go, and then they come back, and I'm like, "Alright, well, you're meant to be here, I guess."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't really think that ever leaves you. You know, I'm 32. I'm getting old. I'm getting old, you guys, but it doesn't. It doesn't. I think over time, it's like adaptation. You learn how to find a way to use it to your advantage,
Mhm.
and you can also, I think, again, like this is time. And it takes time to really understand that more as well. But yeah, using it to your advantage, but also recognizing when it's becoming a disadvantage or it's
Yeah.
getting in the way of you being able to honestly cultivate joy. And that this is probably a separate conversation because I know we're running out of time. But one thing I was going to highlight with as you move into senior year and for any senior is to try to find more joy, like genuinely
Yeah.
more joy in this last year,
Mhm.
because that is one of my I did the best I could my senior year, but that is actually one regret of mine that I have. And I don't feel like I don't have that many regrets, but that is one. And I'm like I was trying to force everything so much, but also it's okay. Whatever happens, happens. Like you learn through
Yeah.
those experiences, but to just be so, I just call it being like so present in the moment,
Yeah.
like immersing yourself in that experience in the moment, because this will be the last time you play with, those girls on that team at that
Mhm.
school.
Yeah, I am not one that likes to fall into the cheesy, like, sayings and traps, but, like, when you're finishing up a career, fall into
Yeah.
all of those. Like, they all
Yeah.
really do resonate even now when I think about it. Like, all of those things about, like, okay, even if it's the last time that we lost, it's the last time that we lost together or whatever, like, negative parts or, like, the last time our coach came in and screamed at us or the other parts, like, really taking kind of that lens from the beginning too, and that sort of being your, like, grounding point is definitely what I would recommend, even though I don't like doing all that cheesy stuff, but it makes sense for, like,
Well,
last.
I was talking to my class and they're like, I feel like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I feel like I'm gonna cry at every last first thing. Like,
Yeah.
last first game, I'm gonna cry. Last first, like, whatever, like the stupid stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it's also figuring out how to like enjoy it while not mourning it,
Mhm.
because that's like what I'm gonna struggle with. Like, feel like it's like it has to be a mix because it is something like you have to mourn. Like, it
Mhm.
is sad, but it's also like I don't wanna be sad the whole time. Like, you can't be sad the whole time. You have to, so I think that's like what I'm trying to manage and like make it a good.
I I agree with that. I also tell people this too, is to not force with that specifically, to not force a feeling, because if I was gonna say, if there's one thing to cultivate, if you're gonna force it's joy. And even on those days, right? We have our, like we're saying, we have our off days. It's an off day. You're like, I'm sometimes like, just go to bed.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a new
Yeah.
day. Literally, tomorrow's a new day. But not forcing that, like that morning already. You don't have to either. And how do I put this? That sometimes comes when you least expect it. So if there's an emotion or feeling that just comes up, just acknowledge it and honor it.
Yeah.
For me specifically, I don't feel like I really mourned it until I was out in the real world, until I moved to Chicago. It was strange. I don't, and maybe that was just a me process, but I've heard this from other people too. So I'm like, and that's the thing, at this age, you can't necessarily know, well, not 32, your age. At your age, you can't necessarily know how you're going to feel either. It's just a feeling and it moves through you. And for me specifically, I felt it more when I was in my first job and I was like, whoa, I'm being hit with this now. So,
Mhm.
there is preparation and processing that maybe more after with like a therapist and whatnot and
Yeah.
talking about it with friends. But I think that's also just a part of this is like you can't like force everything either to feel a
Yeah.
certain way.
Yeah.
It just comes.
I was the girl who was, like, crying after every last thing, like,
That's
right
gonna be
away.
me for
Yeah.
sure. Like, I'm feeling nostalgic, like, about the
Right.
season, and it has not even come yet. Like,
Mhm.
I'm definitely, which I feel like I will figure it out. Like, I might be crying the whole time, but a lot of them might be happy tears. Like, I feel like I'll figure out how to, like, do both. It's just gonna be it's just gonna be crazy for sure.
I feel like we have to have you back on, like,
At the
mid-season.
end? Oh, mid-season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be good for processing.
Yeah, seriously.
I love that. Yeah, we really do. That's a great idea, Lily.
Middle, beginning, middle, and end. That's
Yep.
good.
Mhm.
I'm here for it. If you'll come back, we
I
would
will come
love
back.
to have you, Scout.
Yeah.